Okay, this is Seawind Handover with Mark.
Okay, so this is like a house fuse box. That's the main fuse box. Which, generally, it's like a house. You just set it and forget it. You don't need to come. It's not a running panel. We do have some heavy-duty fuses inside that protect the battery circuits and stuff like that. But they're like 300 amp hour fuses, and they'll never blow. Only in an extreme circumstance. So this one here, this circuit breaker here, is the anchor winch. So that needs to be clicked in there to be on.
Yep.
So testing. That's just a test button to test it. But to use the anchor winch, you must have that switch like that. Then we have, up here we have the bilge pumps, the house test, and the stereo memory. There's 3 hot circuits. So hot circuit is direct to the batteries, are always on no matter if you have the isolating switch off. So it means your bilge pumps, if you leave them on auto and turn the batteries off, they've still got power. They can still run.
Yep.
They're the hot circuits. So just as the thing says, so there's your solar panel controller, which is the regulator is in here.
Which one there? That white one?
This is the solar panel controller.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where we're looking at the charge, and the lights on there show you where it's charging. And then you run through and you have all the house test and crank test are basically they're wires that go to the panel. Basically, so you've got BP DC supply is that panel.
Yep.
The supply of the switches.
Okay.
The crank test and the house test is the supply to the gauge for the engine, for the battery voltage.
Okay. Yep.
So if for some reason that gauge is down, that crank test and the house test may be off. For any reason, if someone bumps it or something. So then we just have all the fairly straightforward. The gauges. So the gauges also, along with the house test, the crank test, and the gauges, that goes to the digital readout for the water gauge, the fuel gauge, and then you've got the voltage and amps, battery capacity. Then obviously there's only one for the cabin lights, your 12 volt outlets, which are all your USB ports, your shower pump, toilet pump, gas, stereo and TV, so winch control. So that's also part of this circuit as well. Watermaker, panel, nav light, port, starboard and aft. So all the lights basically have their own circuit breaker. One of the regulations of when boats in survey, the water maritime, want every nav light to be on a separate circuit. So pretty much you've got your engine start batteries here, and then under where you're sitting is under here is the 2 house batteries.
Alright, so we're saying these two are 225 each, so we've got a total of 450 amp hours for house batteries.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
And these things here, temperature sensors for the inverter charger and the solar panel regulator. So they have to sense the temperature of the batteries. So it's pretty straightforward. It shouldn't need to go inside the box for many reasons at all. There's nothing in there that really, apart from those great big fuses, there's nothing in there that really needs servicing.
Okay.
So that's that. And then here you've got all your mast connections and your VHF, all your mast light connections, the wires from the mast, VHF cable and your wind cable.
Yep.
This is part of the BNG network here.
And the bottom one there is a potential where I could put the wireless.
Yeah, that's
go free while we're
port there. You can put a modem or whatever it is, a wireless router or something in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
In here we have the water tank.
Yeah.
They have the water tank gauge and your filler and breathers.
Yep. And then in there is that spare spigot that I can tap into for the Watermaker inlet.
There's a spare what do you say, fitting on the top.
Yep.
You can tap straight. You can remove the cap and it should be like a 1/2 inch thread or something.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe we'll go down to the other panel.
Yep.
Now each one of these B&G equipment has its own fuse, isn't it? Like the chart plotter has a little fuse, inline spade fuse. The radar, where's the little fuse for the radar?
Behind
All in behind here. Yeah.
So there's more fuses in here. Okay.
Yeah, but they're the little they'll be in the wires. They'll be just little spade fuses.
So in behind that
in
panel?
behind there,
Okay.
with the wiring for the chart plotter, the radar.
Oh, okay, got
and
it.
the instruments there, they're just little fuses.
Yeah,
They
like
do have
car
circuit
fuses, like.
yeah, just a little spade fuse. Yeah, we do have a circuit breaker on here for the instruments.
Yep.
So we'll start with the instruments. So to use the B&G instruments, you need to have the instrument switch on plus the accessories switch on. So the power from the instrument switch goes to the chart plotter, radar and equipment, and the power from the accessories goes to the network cable, which powers the network. So both of them need to be on to run the network. So then we have our running lights here, so your nav light, spreader light, steaming light and anchor light, so it's all the lights there, and we've got freshwater pump, fridge and freezer over here. So we have a readout, we have a house battery bank which has basically the consumption. At the moment we're getting plus 19.7 amps we're getting from the solar panels.
So it's a net reading, so it takes what's
Yeah.
being used, what's coming in, and gives you a net.
That's right.
overall.
Yeah, so at the moment we have the fridge and freezer on that are drawing power,
Yeah.
and we have the solar panels putting power in, and the net result is plus 19 amps on top of what we're using. So
It's like having a generator.
yeah. So that's our house battery capacity. So capacity up there is 450 for full, and it's just showing you the same voltage and the amps reading there, and the state of the battery in amps and amp hours down the bottom, the state of the battery banks.
Yep.
And we basically have the voltage for the house battery. And the start battery. The start battery only has voltage only, it doesn't have anything else.
Yep.
Then we have our water tank. So we have a water tank level gauge. At the moment we've got 419 litres, and the total is about 760 in full tanks. And then the fuel tank, same thing. The fuel tank capacity 269 or 270
270.
litres. Yeah.
Okay.
And currently at 212.
Okay.
So
And out of the engines, we've got 20 horsepower Hondas, and we're getting fuel consumption of about 3.5 litres from a test we
yeah,
did.
that's what we did. Yeah, 3.5 litres.
So 2 engines together, 7 litres per hour, running at, we ran about 4,000.
Yeah.
4,000 revs.
So just underneath it, we have the bilge pump switch. So this is like an auto or off or manual. So generally you would leave these in auto position.
Yeah.
So that's also saying this is a hot circuit, these ones. So basically saying they've got power on them all the time. If you want to pump out manually, then we can manually operate the pump just by pressing that. Can't really hear it.
Yeah, I can slightly
Yeah,
hear.
you can hear it. Anyway, I would leave them in
Just
auto.
leave order.
Yeah, there also is a little fuse in there behind there.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have the battery isolating switches. So we have a house battery isolating switch and a engine start battery isolating switch. Then we have the emergency parallel. So that basically connects all the batteries together. If you have a flat start battery and you have a problem, then you can parallel it and use the house batteries to start the motors.
So this is on now?
That's right.
These are off?
Yeah, so where it says the little thing has the red there, or if you move it, turn it, and it's into the green green is on and then the red is off.
So where it is now, we can't start the engine?
No power to the engine.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. And then underneath is the it's called a voltage sensitive relay, VSR. So what that does, while you're running your engines, the engines are charging the engine start battery first. So when the engine start battery gets full, then the voltage sensing relay senses that and switches over to send the charge to the house batteries. So the engine start battery should be full most of the time, and so you 90% of the time will be going. There's a red light on there which will come on when that's switched over to charging the house batteries.
Okay.
And we have the inside the cupboard, the inverter charger. So in here we have the 240 volt inverter charger.
Mm-hmm.
So it has a switch on it, a two-way switch. One of it's the top way is to actually turn the inverter on, and you can use the power points on the boat through the inverter, or the other way down is to switch just only using the charger when you're hooked into the shore power. It's just on charge.
So unless that's actually switched, if I plug in, it won't be charging any batteries.
No,
unless I actually press it down, it won't automatically.
Press it up. If you can, if you want to have it on up, that's both. That's a combo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So that's inverter on and charger on. So you'll get charged.
But plugged into 240 with it on, with inverter on, it will sense that I've got 240 and not draw from the batteries.
Not draw from the batteries. Yeah, it'll use the shore power. So there has a diode or whatever it is there that changes it over. So up here, above the distribution box is little galvanic blocker.
Right.
So it's basically going to the earth plate on the boat. The galvanic blockers between the earth and the negative from the power and the AC power. So it's
and what does that actually do?
Well, it's just stopping any galvanic action coming up through. Like if you've got steel boats and a marina that leaks electricity into the water, that'll tend to try and it will block some of that sort of through current that's just sort of live in the water. It's supposed to be a blocker.
All right.
Yeah. The inside the distribution panel is just a few circuit breakers. So the main one will be for the main power. So that'll be, when you plug your shore power in. Then we have the charger inverter and then the outlets around the boat. So
just like our house.
Yeah,
that's the house fuses. Okay, so that's this side of the boat. Maybe we run through the fittings that are here, or do you want to do all the electronics? That's after it's done, right?
That's the electric system. Electric bilge pump under here. So we have the electric one that'll be operated manually or automatically. It's got a float switch, and the other one's a pickup for the manual pump that's in the cockpit.
Yeah.
In the helm.
And that water's just from testing. Maybe we can get one of the guys to clean that out.
Yeah, that's
Chup chup. Get out. Chup
Get chup chup in there.
Chup chup can clean.
The other thing is those things are one-way valves, so that's to stop water coming back down into the bilge once it's pumped out.
Yep.
If you've got a lot of shit in the bilge, sometimes they can get a bit blocked, so they may need cleaning, annually or 6 monthly, or if you notice the performance if it's not working so well, then there may be some stuff blocked in the one-way valve. We'll go under the floor here. Under the floor, so first thing here we got that's the earth plate. So that's metal plate that's on the outside of the boat, or the outside of the hull. That's your AC earth.
Yep.
So this fitting here is the inlet for the toilet. So we have the toilet inlet pump is here. So we've got a strainer. So I think the hose goes through that strainer, and then to the pump, and then to the toilet.
Okay.
And then behind that, sorry. Alright, so for installing the Watermaker, if you're going to use the Spectrum, the same as what we normally use. So to pick up the intake is from here. You need to put a strainer in line between the intake and the pump. They'll supply a strainer, I think, in the kit. Yeah. So then under here you would mount the big Clark pump, they call it, the big black cylinder.
Yeah.
You would mount under here so you have access to the pressure relief valve and that.
Now, just on that, what I notice here is that we're just going straight through the fiberglass. It doesn't look like there's anything mounted there. Is that the way you do it, or there's actually padding built in there already for that?
That's pads there. That's pads there.
Oh, there's glass in pads?
That's pads there.
So is there normally pads in here, or I need to put a glass of padding?
I would put it down on, put a plywood pad and glass it.
Just Sikaflex it in or something?
Well, you can Sikaflex it in, you don't have to glass it, you just have and then you can actually screw into the plywood.
Okay, yep. But there's plenty of room for that. So technically, that means the Clark pump is beneath the waterline, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then inside these cupboards here, you would mount the main filter here, which has the fresh water filter on it, and it has the big yellow handle. So that's the main one there, which is the one you operate all the time. You probably need to mount a board on the back of the hull as well.
Yep.
And then the other unit would go mount inside this door, so you've got access to both filters.
Yes.
So the wires should already, the wires are already coming up through the floor here. So your power you'd connect in here somewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
You also need to connect into the fresh. Well, you need to, for the freshwater flushing, you will need to T-piece into the whale plumbing system.
Yes. Okay.
So you need a T-piece, some whale hose, and a shut-off tap, because you don't want to have water pressure always in there. You only want to turn your isolating valve on when you need to flush your Watermaker, and then you would turn it off again.
Okay. And so that fitting there is a whale T-piece. What size, what gauge pipe is that?
I think it's 15 mil.
15 mil.
Yeah, it's pretty standard whale plumbing.
Okay.
Plumbing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't find them, then sure we can send them over from the factory.
Yep.
And then you have inside this cupboard above the shelf where it's skin fitting in is the brine overboard discharge. So that's where you plumb in to get the brine going out.
And you can see where it's been plugged off already, so it's ready to go.
Yeah, and then you would fit a spigot up here which you can plumb the test water into.
Yes.
So then you can just run it into the sink and it just runs over the side. You don't have to put it into a bucket or anything.
Okay.
Makes it very easy.
There's plenty of room. I was expecting enough to put it further back, but under here, out of the way, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, let's get in here. So, all right. First of all, the light switch. What's that?
First of all, the light switch. Yeah. Well, on plumbing, we have the a black water tank called the holding tank. It's above waterline, so you can drain it through gravity. It gravity drains, so you don't need to pump it out. So to have the tank open, the valve handle needs to be in line with the hose. So both the skin fitting at the hull and the valve handle are open. So that means will go straight out. So when you're in harbour, you can close that off. So this tank also has a suction pump out. So you can pull up to shore. So that's got a spigot that goes down into the tank. So the water comes in here, goes into the bottom, but it goes into a spigot, a spike that goes up to the nearly to the top. So the water goes in and overflows over into the tank.
So just on the pump out, is there some sort of Venturi effect? You need to have these open or closed to pump it out? Otherwise, it just suck this in. Is there?
Well, you got the breathers. You got two breathers.
Okay.
To let the air in when it's getting sucked out.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would have that closed.
Close this one.
Yeah. Okay. The other advantage of that is that this is directly above the outlet. So if you do have some sort of blockage or you want to flush the outlet hose, you can put a hose in from the deck, run it down through here, and pressure flush through the outlet hose.
Okay.
Okay, so hot water heater. I'm not the expert on hot water heaters, but well, you got on and off the switch there. So you just got temperature control here. One of them's controlling the water flow, and one of them's controlling the gas or the heat. So this one here is obviously we've got it turned up to a high flame, and we've got I'll get the manual out and have a bit of a look, but that's obviously making it more cold, it's making it more hot, so whichever.
Make it as hot as you get. You can.
Make it as hot as you can.
Yeah. My wife's Korean. And
okay, I'm pretty sure that would be turning that handle towards the red.
Okay. We'll try it out.
What it does, I think it reduces the water flow, slows it down.
Doing it.
So yeah, so it's sort of like opening the water flow, making it colder, and closing the water flow off a bit.
So the showers I've been having, it's been actually quite good.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed. It's better than my shower in Singapore.
Yeah.
So like that is actually quite good.
Yeah.
So, but you're saying that maybe it might even, we'll try something like that.
Yeah.
And then I'll try a different setting maybe
Try
again.
a different setting, but you'll also be able to adjust your flick mixer.
Oh yeah,
well.
yeah. So I had it on flick mixer, a full red,
Yeah.
and it was scalding. Like
Yeah.
that's really good. That gets the thumbs up.
Okay.
And the pressure was good. It was
Yeah.
good flow. So this really impressive with this system.
Okay.
Works
So
well.
this system's got ventilation in because we've got a force feeding the air.
Yeah.
I think it's just creating an airflow inside here.
Yeah.
For the gas to burn. Then you've got the flue, so you've got hot air coming out of that.
Yeah. Okay.
And behind you there's the autopilot linear drive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that drives the boat. And then you've got your steering cable. One end of the steering cable is attached there. So I think maybe after you get to Singapore, just check the cable tension.
Yeah.
And to adjust the steering cable, it's just on that eye bolt. You just need to undo it and like tension that eye bolt.
Yes, I can see
at the
it.
end, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but the wire does settle in. It takes a couple of weeks, but it does sort of stretch in a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
In the back there, the rudder post. So the rudder post is inside that tube is two bearings. One bearing down the bottom, which is about 100 mil high, and then up the top you've got another bearing underneath the top shelf at about 100 mil. So you've got two bearings, and then we've got a glass tube. So you see the rudder sitting on the top of the collar there, and it's got the tiller arm just clamped onto the top of the rudder.
So just go through the scenario that we crash into something and we crack the bottom here, and so we've got a crack coming through here.
Yeah.
What happens in that scenario?
You sink.
Who's going to sink? Yeah.
No, there is a watertight panel there.
All right, so this panel is watertight.
Well,
yeah.
It's got a seal on there, so that the back end of the boat, is deemed watertight.
Okay.
We've also got glass bulkheads at the rudder shelf there. We've got bulkheads glassed at either end to stop, to sort of create more water tightness in the back of the boat. And yeah, with that bulkhead panel in place, you won't sink.
You won't sink.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen Stuart Simpson run his 1160, hit a submerged container in Andaman, it's like an isolated near Burma.
Yeah.
And his rudder acted like an axe through the back of the boat and tore a great big hole. Like the rudder blade actually axed the boat.
Wow.
Tore a huge hole in the back of the boat. And what saved his boat was his panels.
The bulkheads.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's it for here, yeah.
This thing here is very important. That's your compass or the autopilot. So just be aware that anything magnetic around that compass can affect your autopilot steering.
So nothing magnetic back here.
Yeah. Or on this shelf, especially,
on the toiletry shelf.
Toiletry shelf.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
It was mainly liquids, but yeah, good point.
Yeah, but that's just to be aware of, to keep. Don't put steel objects up there. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
On to the next side.
Okay. The transducer below the floor.
Oh yeah.
You don't have a forward bathroom, so.
And loving it. I do not want a forward bathroom.
Yeah, so up the front, pure access. You do have, I don't know how much stuff you have stuff in there, but below the actual bulkhead, collision bulkhead, they've got access through a inspection port up the top of the panel.
Yep.
But underneath, down the bottom, there's a little skin fitting with a hose on it and a little tap.
I noticed that. Yeah.
So that's, just test it to see if you've got any water up the front, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I saw that in the when I first looked at it. I wondered why that was for, but it's just a
It's
test.
just a drain, really.
Yeah.
It's a drain. If you think you might have water up there for some reason, and you want to check, that's just open that. No water comes out, then yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this space will mainly be used as a sail locker. We'll drop from here,
Yeah.
and it'll just be for sails and stuff.
Yeah. Nice.
So under there is the transducer, is it?
So under this
one?
Under this one here. So you can see the front of the keel, just starting here. So that's the front of the keel. So the keel, angles back and then flat.
Yeah.
So that's the actual front of the keel. So this is just in front of the keel.
And how deep is the keel from the other side? Mini keel?
0.6 of a metre.
0.6 of a metre. Okay,
Yeah,
it's actually quite small.
600,
Yeah. Okay. And the total water line that we're drawing in for the boat?
Is about 1.1, I think.
1.1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Once again, that's not much water, is it? Really?
No. So you're up, like that's the keel. You got 600 below that, and then 500 above it was about up around here.
Where the water line is.
Okay. There'll be a plug in. I think it's in the tool bag. Not sure if you've
Let's
seen it.
check that. I'd like the
Yeah.
plug to be down here.
Yeah.
Tie it off down here, so we'll find that and put it
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's pretty. It's only one transducer, so it's a smart transducer. It's got the speed, impeller, log impeller, temperature, and depth sounder all in one unit.
Okay.
And when you're leaving the boat, I would recommend pulling it out and putting a plug in, keeping it clean.
Yep. So under here it's just a carbon copy of what we saw.
So
on the
same setup
side.
as the other side, yeah.
Yep.
Then we have the sink that has
Lots of my junk in here.
hoses, drain hoses and stuff.
Yep.
And you have the stove, which has a gas valve under here as well. And right down there, so there's a shut-off valve for the gas.
Yep.
Under the cupboard here. So if you need to turn it off for any reason, you've got a fire.
Right. And we've got a solar.
And then you've got the solenoid switch here, so gas switch here. So to operate the gas, you need to have this turned on and the gas bottle open. And the valves open, of course. Okay. So then the fridge is pretty straightforward. It's just the temperature, adjust your temperature control up there.
Oh, that chocolate.
Who's eating the chocolate? Just above here is a vent, so we're trying to vent the hot air out of the fridge motor to come out the back. So then we have the freezer. So we have the freezer motor underneath here. So this gives us ventilation. You've got cold air coming in, and hot air going out. So in order for the freezer to work very efficiently, you must have that all clear. You know, hot air able to get rid of.
Yeah, there's nothing else going in here.
No.
Not that you need it. There's so much space.
Yeah.
For storage.
So it's switched on now. So the orange light just generally indicates that it's on standby, that it's cooled down. When it's on green and your motor's running, and you'll have hot air coming out here. And then there's also different lights, different flashes of red mean different problems too.
Okay.
So you need just have a quick look at the manual. Malcolm Best is pretty good on the advice.
Yeah, 3 flashes and 4 flashes, and it's going to run away.
Else, yeah. But it's easy access. Like just undo those screws and the panel comes off, and you've got access to all the compressors and all the electrics inside. So.
Best freezer in the world.
Yeah, I think great.
Awesome. All right, and the beauty about we've only got skin fittings on that side plus the transducer. There's no other skin fittings on this boat.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the back cabin, there's nothing to look at below except
Storage space.
Storage. Your access through your cupboard. You know, to access behind the steering panels and everything. There's inside the cupboard. You would take off.
You take off
panels,
that.
Yeah, and need access
Yep.
into behind the steering and up to your instruments and that.
So it looks so calm. How many knots are you actually doing, Craig?
We're actually doing 5.3 currently.
No way. 5.3 knots? There's not even a white cap on the water. You sure about that?
Yeah, that's our speed over ground.
5.3?
5.3 over ground. Yep.
Wow. These Fontaine Peugeots, they're very fast catamarans.